Hello and welcome to the first ever WebSnap tutorial video. Today we will create a custom Word template using Microsoft Word 2010. Now I do realize that this software is somewhat dated, but there are still those of you out there that use Office 2010 or even Office 2007. So all of you will be able to benefit from this video. Do keep in mind, however, that most of the instructions outlined in this video tutorial are actually quite similar, if not the same, for Word 2007 and Word 2013. So just follow along, even if you have a different version than the one I'll be using, and you should be able to benefit from this experience. With that being said, let's get the party started. Okay, so step one is to open up Word and get a file actually started. So go ahead and open up your version of Microsoft Word using your preferred method. I've got it down here, so I'll just pull it up. And there we go, we've got our version of Word open. But before we do anything at all, we're going to save this document just to get the easy save feature balls rolling. So we go File, Save As, and you're going to navigate to the location that you want to put it in. I'm just going to save mine to the desktop just because that's nice and easy. So I'm going to save it to the desktop, and I'm going to call this Template Lab Report, because we all know that in science class we tend to make a lot of lab reports that look very similar. So Template Lab Report, and then the important step here is to change the Save As type. We're going to hit that drop down box and save the type to Word Template. Go ahead and select that and then hit Save. Now I was already playing around with this earlier today, so you won't actually get this dialog box here, so I'm just going to go ahead and click OK. Hey, now the next thing that we're going to do is make sure that our template, our current template, saved in the correct formatting, the template formatting. So to do that, we're just going to navigate to whatever location you picked to save it in. Because mine was the desktop, I'm just going to go ahead and open up my computer. There's my computer right there. I'm going to go to the desktop, and there we are right there, our Template Lab Report right here. So notice how it looks kind of like a notepad with like a tearaway. Compare that to Doc 1 here, which is a regular document. This is what templates look like. You can also check right down here where my cursor is, Microsoft Word Template. So we know, Microsoft Word document. So we know that we saved it correctly as a template, and we are good to go. Now, just as a heads up, if in your document, or if your save icon doesn't look like this, you could have done a couple of things. The most likely issue is that you forgot to change the Save As type to Template, Word Template. So just go ahead and don't freak out. Just go back into File, Save As, pick that location you want again, and just make sure in Save As type you go drop down menu, Word Template, and then Save. So once you have your template all saved up, open, and ready to go, the first thing that you need to do is pick a style that you like. So up in your ribbon, go to the Home tab. All the way over onto the right, you're going to go to Change Styles. Go ahead and click that, and then you're going to pick Style Set, and then play around with these. Pick a style set that you really like. In this video, I'm going to be using the Fancy 1 style set. It's a little bit different than the preloaded Fancy set, but if you want to have yours look as close to mine as possible, go ahead and just use Fancy, but I'll be using Fancy 1. Once we have our style set all picked up, we can go ahead and start with the cover page. So I'm going to be using the canned stamp, which just stands for Course, Activity, Name, Date. Other teachers may require you to use something called a SKID stamp, which stands for Student Course Instructor Date, or something completely different from those two. If that's the case, just follow along with the tutorial, but apply the ideas to create the correct fields that you're going to need for the stamp that's going to satisfy your teacher's requirements. So without moving the ribbon, on the Home tab, right here in the Paragraph section, we're going to go ahead and center our text. The cursor jumps to the middle. Then we're going to push the Enter key about few times till we get about a quarter of the way down the page. Just going to zoom out by holding Control and then mouse wheel backwards. Yep, that looks pretty good. Maybe I'll go back 2. There we go. So about a quarter of the page down. Now, if your teacher wants you to use the skid stamp, instead of centering, you're going to want to right alignment. Okay, do you see how the cursor indicator went over here onto the right? And you're going to want to go down to the bottom of the page in most cases instead of a quarter of the way from the top. But we're going to be using the canned stamp, so we're going to stick with center justify. Okay, now this is where things are going to start to get rather interesting for us. So we are going to go tab insert, and then we want quick parts. Let that load up. And then we're going to select document property, and we're going to insert subject. Subject, course, they're pretty much the same thing, so go ahead and click subject. Then you're going to click outside that, hold the shift key, and then push enter. See how it went right underneath that? If we didn't hold the shift key, it'll skip a line. You see how it skipped a line there? So make sure that you hold the shift key and push enter so that it goes right underneath. Next up, we're going to insert another quick parts. So go quick parts, document property, title. Okay. Again, just click outside that box, hold the shift key, enter one more time. And now this is where your name goes, because we've done course, which was subject, activity, which is going to be the title, and now we're on to name. So this is your name, and your name doesn't change. So you can actually, what we like to call hard coding. We're going to hard code your name into the template. So my name is Mr. Fournier. You can put in whatever your actual name is. That's probably the best thing to do here. So go ahead and type that in. And the last bit is going to be inserting the date. So go ahead and go shift, enter one more time. And then up here, we're going to, 3 parts over from quick parts. You're going to, in the middle, you're going to select date and time. Select that, and then it's going to bring up a date and time format box. Pick whichever one floats your boat. I myself am taken with the month, day, year, so I'm going to go December 7, 2014. Now what's important is that over here you check the box that says update automatically. And what this is going to allow this field to do is whenever you go in and update your lab report, it's going to automatically insert the correct date, whatever date you are working on it on. So suppose after we make this template, I need to make a lab report, and it's next year, January 1st, let's say. So I go ahead and open up my template lab report, and it's gonna open it up, and it'll automatically have January 1st, 2015 on it. Go ahead and click OK. It'll insert that date right there for us. Now the reason why we inserted quick parts for the subject and the title boxes is because these are editable. And by that, I mean we can click in the subject and say we are now doing a lab in chemistry. There's our new subject. There we go, chemistry. And the title, or the activity, is, let's say we're working with ionic bonds. Okay, so we got subject to chemistry, title of ionic bonds. My name is Mr. Fournier, and today's date is December 7th, 2014. And like I said, we used those subject and title boxes because they are editable, easily editable. And every time you open up the lab report template, those boxes will always say subject and title. And it's just as simple as clicking inside and typing in whatever your course or your subject line is. So let's say we could even be working in mathematics, and our new title could be, let's say we're working with variables, and there we go, we're good to go. See how easy that was? It's so much easier than having to highlight a line of text and then replace it with something different. Mr. Jingle. It's much easier just to be able to click inside the field when the field is already set up blank like this, click inside the field, and then go ahead. Okay, so you can go ahead and save that. Go up and hit that floppy disk, or you can go File, Save, or you can just Control S, whichever one is makes you the most comfortable. So now we are going to move on and cover page breaks. The page break is located in the Insert tab in the ribbon. It's the third item from the left. And what a page break is going to do for us is it's going to insert a new page right after the page that we are currently on, regardless of where the cursor is. Now the benefits of using a insert page break as opposed to just pushing the enter key a ton of times is that, well, let's go ahead and do this. We're going to insert page break. So there's our new page right here with the cursor. If we go back up onto our previous page, if we actually push enter a bunch of times and start putting in some information, we scroll back down to our second page, our initial starting spot is still right here at the top of the page. So what the page break does for us is it maintains formatting. We can backspace this and it's not going to change the location of the cursor on the next page. So after we've broken the page by inserting a page break, you can see that the cursor is still in the middle of the screen, so we want to go back Home tab, and we're going to left text align. And now we are going to insert a table of contents. I'm going to get nice and super technical. A table of contents is another one of those automatic updating or self-updating fields. So we're going to go ahead and up in your tabs above the ribbon, you're going to want to go to References, one of the tabs that you probably never use, and then you're going to go Table of Contents, and there's a couple of built-ins. Now I personally prefer the table number 2, the Table of Contents, and then it uses your headings. So go ahead and pick table number 2. You're going to get this. This dialog box that just pops up is basically just very brief instructions on how to use your table of contents and how to maintain it. So just go ahead and read it if you want. I'm just going to click OK. As you can see, it's inserted a table of contents right where our cursor was. And it already labeled it Table of Contents, and it is telling us that there is no content entries found. So the reason for this is the Table of Contents automatically updates itself, or may require manual updating, but it will be updated using something called headings, which we will cover next. Okay, so go ahead and make sure that you're clicked outside of the table of contents, so as your cursor is down below. We're going to go back to the Home tab, to the Insert tab, and we're going to insert another page break. And this is where we're going to put in our first set of headings. So you're going to want to go Home, Heading 1, and we're going to label this heading Introduction. Go ahead and push enter, and now you're outside of that heading. At this point I recommend that you save, so go ahead and save it. Control S to save, click the floppy disk, or you can go File, Save. And now we're going to go check to make sure that our table of contents is correct and updated. I'm going to scroll back up here, table of contents, going to click it, and update, and boom, Introduction, page 3. How cool is that? Okay, so we'll roll right along with more headings. So scroll back down, make sure you clicked underneath your introduction. Now this is going to vary depending on how your teacher wants you to format all of your lab reports. If they prefer that you waste less paper and just have all of your different sections right next to each other, you can go ahead and do it that way. I'm going to be showing you how to put together the formatting for the lab reports using my preferred method. So that being said, our next operation is to push the enter key a couple of times, give ourselves a little bit of space. We're going to select heading 1, we're going to put in another heading, and this is where our methods and materials heading goes. Push the enter key. And now for my personal preference is to have the experimental procedure on a separate page. So you go ahead and go Tab, Insert, add another page break. It's going to give us a new fresh page. Go back to Home, heading number 1, Procedure. enter. Go ahead and save this. Let's go ahead and scroll all the way back up to our table of contents. Click that, left click to update the table. Okay, now this dialog box appears, update table of contents, and it's asking us how we want to update it. So we're going to say update the entire table. Click OK. And there we go. We got our introduction on page 3, our methods and materials are on page 3, and our procedure is on page number 4. Perfect. So far so good. Go ahead and save that again, and then we can move on. Hey, now I've just gone ahead and created 2 more headings just for the results and the conclusion, both on the same page, because that's the way that I prefer it. I'm just going to scroll back up to the table of contents, click it, update it, the entire table, OK. Check it, make sure, results and conclusion on the same page, perfect. Control S to save. OK, and now I'm going to show you how to create some headers and footers. So if we look at our lab report, we can definitely see something that's missing, which is a page number. There is no page numbers anywhere. We have in our table of contents, it tells us what page to go to, but there's no indication on any of the pages what that page we're looking at currently is. So let's fix that. So go ahead up and go to the tab Insert, and then we're going to go to page number in the header footer section, page number, click it. We're going to put them at the bottom of the page because that's where I like them, and we're going to put them on the bottom right. Now Word offers you a ton of built-in presets for the different kinds of page numbering systems with some funny little designs around them, but I personally prefer something nice and simple, so something like this with the little tab poking out, or even just a number, page 1 of 1. This is actually my preferred one because it tells you which page you're on and how many there are in the document. So I'm going to go ahead and click that one, page 1 of 1. Now you'll be able to see that it automatically took me right down to the bottom of the page that I was currently on. It inserted the one that I selected, it's page 2 of 5, and it opened up something called a footer. Now a footer is a piece of space dedicated at the bottom of every page that is reserved for special text. In our case, the footer is reserved for the special text of just page numbering and management, but it could also be used to hold endnotes, or it could hold footnotes or anything along those lines. But we're just going to be using it for page numbers. Now up in the ribbon, you're going to see it automatically opened up the Design tab for us. And right here in the Options section, you're going to see Different First Page. You're going to want to go ahead and click that, and I'm going to show you why. I'm going to leave it unclicked for now, and I'm going to show you why. If we go up to our title page, okay, there we go, subject, title, name, and date, the page number appears there. What lab report have you ever seen that showed the page number on the title page? I've never seen that before in my life. So you're going to want to go ahead and check that box, Different First Page. And what that's going to do is it's going to, oh, it took us back down here, but what that's going to do, look, it's gone. It takes away the footer from the first page. And it does that by making the first page footer unique, and so that every footer on pages that aren't the first page will have the same properties, but the first page footer will have different properties. And our first page footer is blank, and we're just going to leave it that way, which is perfect. So you can go ahead and close the headers and footers by clicking this button, or you can click outside of the page. Double click outside of the page. Just like that. Go ahead and save your document. In our current state, our template doesn't have our name on any of the pages except for the cover page. So if these pages somehow manage to find their way away from your title page, you now have no lab report. So how can we go about fixing this? Well, there's something called a header that we can insert and put our names into the header. So we're going to go Insert, Header, and Microsoft Word gives you a bunch of different options, just like they had for the page numbers from before that we used in the footers. So all kinds of different colors and designs and shapes and styles and whatever. but I prefer this one right here, the blank 3-column header. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that one. And as you can see in the design tab really quick, different first page is pre-checked, which is fantastic. That's exactly what we want. So over here in the right hand side, this is where I like to put my name. So Mr. Fournier. In the middle, this is where I like to put the activity. So whatever our activity is, that's where it's going to go. And then over here, I like to put the date. So with the date, you can go ahead and click that type text box. Then you're going to go over to the Insert tab. Then you're going to go to Date and Time in the text section, Date and Time. It's going to bring up that familiar date and time box. You're going to pick the date and time style that you like. I'm going to use the same one, December 7, 2014. Make sure that Update Automatically is checked. It should be pre-checked because we had it checked from before. Click OK, and it'll insert the date. Now this date field will change itself as the days progress, the same way that your title page date will change. And now let's deal with this middle section here. This is where we are going to insert the title of our activity so that the activity is visible on the top of every page, all the way down the template, all the way down our lab report. So since we already have the Insert tab open, you're going to go up to Quick Parts, Text, Quick Parts, Document Property, and you're going to insert Title. And there we go. So now what's going to happen, if we close the header and footer, and we go up to our title page, if we change the title to, let's say, temperature, so that's our activity, we're doing an activity on temperature, click outside, what's going to happen is every single title field will be updated. See, there's temperature there, temperature on all the same pages. So now if we actually zoom out, control and scroll mouse wheel backwards, you can check it out on all the pages. You can see we've got the date, top left of every page, the activity on every single page, the author's name on the top right of every single page, and the page number on the bottom right of every single page. So essentially, our lab report template is pretty much done. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom back in here, because that's kind of hard to read that far away. Make sure that you take away that temperature. Just go ahead and backspace it so that it'll go back to title, so that they'll go back to title. Okay, go ahead and save your template. And you can go ahead and close your Word template. Okay, so when it actually comes time for you to create a lab report and you want to use your template, just navigate to wherever you saved it. Ours is the desktop. Go ahead, double click to open, and it'll actually open up a Word document in the form of the template that you created. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is change your subject, so I'm going to change the subject to science. Tab down, I'm going to change the title to, let's say, temperature, because we all love temperature. And I'm going to save it with Control S. There we go, it brings it up. And as you can see, science was our course, and it automatically stuck science in as the file name. But we're also going to add dash temperature so that we know what it is, and we're going to save it on the desktop. And as you can see, it defaulted to save as type Word document. Make sure you leave it as a Word document for the type. Go ahead and save it. And we're going to check, we're going to minimize this, and voila, science temperature. Open it back up. And now we can go ahead and have fun with this. And there you have it. That's essentially how to create a lab report template, or any kind of template if you just want to follow the core ideas in Microsoft Word 2010. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you were able to learn something from it. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe for more content. Stay smart.